What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Snake Pit. This is episode 138. Today's guest is Robin. He's the owner of Ring Bar Ranch, located right here in Lubbock, Texas, and Happy, Texas. I just have to say this, and I mean no disrespect to my other guests. I'm very appreciative of everybody who's ever came on, but this podcast right here is probably the most my favorite podcast I've ever done, and probably the best one I've ever done. I think it's informative and it's good to listen to. I think everybody should listen to this one. If there's one podcast in my whole entire catalog that people should listen to, it's this one. And because I think it's important for people, especially for people who consume meat, to listen to this. And I am very thankful that I had this conversation. And I think, actually, I was very encouraged by this conversation, and I was very, I was glad to hear what I heard. And obviously, there's factory farming and commercial farming. Bad things happen in that situation, and this is not it. If you listen, you'll hear how he takes care of his animals, and it's important to him, how these animals are treated. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're still killing an animal. And that's just the way it is. Like, I think it's important, again, if you eat meat, to know, like, the process of it all. I actually kind of think you should see it, but, whatever. So, even if you don't eat meat, just listen. And I think you'll be more encouraged, again, like I was, because I was really glad to hear what I heard. And it also made me feel even more happy and more special that the meat was processed by Jackson Brothers Meat Locker, which, as you know, but if you don't, that is my grandfather. My grandfather, David Hernandez, he is the proud owner of that place, and that made me proud to be his grandson and to hear, like, the local economy and how it's all integrated, how everybody, Texan, I love it. Robin's not even Texan, but, he's Texan to me. So that was really cool. Again, I think if you ever want to, like, refer to somebody an episode of which one to listen on my podcast, it's this one, episode 138 with Robin at Ring Bar Ranch. It is, it was a very, some things happen at the end. That were a little ooky spooky. Sorry, Robin. My apologies. Not in my control, but, we kind of had to end it because things got weird. And then editing this video, it just seemed like, the forces the outside forces, the universe didn't want this one to happen, man. It took me, there's a lot of fuck ups. Even recording this intro, I kind of fucked up. But, it happened, so I apologize that the video itself is not the best it should be, or that I think it should be. So if you kind of like, what the hell? Just listen to this one. This one's, you don't even need to watch. Just listen. But if you are watching and you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're new, and if you're not new, but you haven't subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're doing. It's free, it's easy, and it's simple. If you want to support the podcast even further, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/rattlesnakeroy. And that is a $3 a month tier right now, where we do audio only, and we hang out and we play dominoes, talk shit, drink beer, smoke some things, whatever. And then I have a $25 tier if you really want to get to the nitty gritty and hear us really fucking talk. Some shit goes down on that one. But I don't imagine any of you are going to listen to that one yet, but it's there. I have a merchandise right now, some shirts available at the Snake Pit with rattlesnakeroy.com. $20 a shirt. They're all $20. I'm looking to make shorts. I'm looking to make hats. All kinds of merch. So just please continue to send your good energy, your prayers towards the podcast, please. I'm going to work hard every day at it to make it the best it can be. And I think this episode right here really just was amazing. So please, I hope you guys enjoy. All right.
So are we going to start back over?
Yeah, I guess I'll clip that little part out, but you're telling us a story about naming your cow.
Yeah, Roy asked if we ever named any of the cows.
Yeah, I was asking what the name of this burger was. The beef right here, but
the very first steer we bought to feed out, we brought down here to Lubbock, and put it out back, and I told the kids, we're going to feed this, and then we're going to turn it into steak and hamburger, and so don't get too attached to this cow. And the kids, well, Dad, we want to name this. Okay, what are you going to name it? Barbecue.
There you go. And did they have problems with it becoming dinner?
No,
or no? They didn't.
No, not at all. No, he was delicious.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we were just kind of talking. That's why I'm gonna get this rolling, because I have so many damn questions. I'm so excited to fucking talk. But you come from, so you're not from Lubbock or Texas at all.
Nope.
You're not even American.
Well, I am now.
Well,
I am now, yeah.
You're from Canada.
Yes, sir.
And then what made you move to Pennsylvania, you said?
Yes, sir. Yeah, when I was 6 years old, my dad got a job in Pennsylvania, and so we moved in 1980 to Pennsylvania, and that's where I grew up.
Where at?
It's a small town, northern Pennsylvania, called Sayre, Pennsylvania. It's like an old railroad community.
I always like asking like specific, like I know. I don't fucking, I barely even know this part of Texas, but whatever. Right. I was hoping you say like Scranton or Westchester or something.
That's where I went to school.
Oh, really?
College in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, yeah.
Oh, okay. So what brought you down here?
Well, so I went to college in central Pennsylvania, went to medical school in Philadelphia. Then I went up to Rochester, New York to do my training, and was there for 8 years. And it's either snowing or it's raining in Rochester. And after 8 years, we decided we wanted to come south, and Texas kind of had the best laws for practicing medicine and other things, so that's where we decided we wanted to be.
Okay, I was going to ask what brought you here. So, throughout this, do y'all have any experience doing ranching or any of that?
No. I raised horses when I grew up.
Oh, okay.
We had a few horses, but that was it. Yeah.
But you lived on like a farm, or?
Yeah, it was a small farm.
Okay.
10 acres on a hill and barn, and had 4 horses and took care of those growing up.
Have you ever lived in a city? Like a big city, or?
This is the biggest city I've ever lived in.
No, this is?
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot bigger in recent years, hasn't it?
Even since we lived here.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so how did you acquire this ranch?
So when you're here in Lubbock, you meet people, and I got the opportunity to go to a few roundups with some of the folks that I worked with, and they were cowboys, on the weekend type thing, and I thought that was a lot of fun. We originally started homesteading on our small place that we have here in Lubbock. We raised milk goats and some meat sheep that we sold locally, and as well to a guy down in Goldthwaite that raises them for Whole Foods. And we did the chickens and made cheese from the goats, etc. Had a few cattle. And then what really prompted me to buy the ranch was I had watched my 401k and it never made any money. And years ago, I don't know if you recall, back in 2008 when
the housing and all that,
the whole stock market crashed, and my dad's retirement literally just went away. So I decided that I wasn't going to trust that, and I cashed it out, and I wanted to have land.
And back then, there was really not much out there where you live, huh? In that region of Lubbock.
Land? Yeah. No, we couldn't buy land here in Lubbock for that kind of an operation.
Well, no, I meant like there's a lot of development.
Yeah.
Where you're at now.
Yeah.
There really wasn't back then, right?
No, but the land was still priced like it was going to be.
Oh, they knew.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah.
It was like across the street. It was $8,000 an acre, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So we cashed out the 401k and bought a place. We looked around and ended up in Happy, up north.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you have your other, like you have 2 spots?
Yeah, we have our home here that's on 4 acres, and it's got some pens that we raise cattle at there. More of the cattle that we're going to breed and gentle and keep for breeding purposes. And then up north, that's where the land is, the bigger part of the land where the larger group, the herd, graze and have their calves.
Are you familiar with the Vaughns? Cheryl Vaughn?
Mm-mm.
She's out there in Tullio. They have cattle in that area. I didn't know if...
No, I've not met them yet.
No, okay, I was just wondering. Yeah. I'm gonna be all over the place because
I slowly meet people, but I haven't met them yet.
I've been thinking about questions all day, and then you came here, and I started thinking more. So I'm gonna be all over the place. Jen, if you even have questions.
Okay, this is just really interesting.
It's fucking. Yeah. I think it's one of the most interesting podcasts I've probably ever done, and we're barely 2 minutes in.
Be just like, wow, what a story.
How hands-on are you with the cattle?
I go up there every other weekend. There's different periods with beef cattle. There's not necessarily daily activities that you do with them. I mean, they're basically eating grass and drinking water. Daily, I have a cowboy that checks to make sure that the cattle always have water. I'm up there every other weekend, either doing various things, fence repair, checking on things, or if we're working cattle. So our busiest times of the year are breeding. So we breed 2 times a year. And the way we breed our cattle is we do artificial insemination and embryo transfer. So we do this process called synchronization, where we have to bring the cattle in, run them through the chute. We give them various medicines at scheduled times, and then that brings them into heat all at the same time, and so that you can inseminate them with some Super Bowl sperm that you bought.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask, because I think I've seen that on your Facebook. It's like that's like a really prized possession, right? Like bull sperm, like almost like. Yeah,
you buy it. The bulls that you buy it from, I couldn't afford. They sell for $100,000, but you can buy a straw, their semen, for $30 to $50, and you can breed one cow with that. So you buy various bulls based on genetics and lineage and traits that you want to incorporate into your herd to improve it.
So who's telling you these things, like the traits you want, or you want to do this? Is it you, or is it you got?
Well, it's a big learning curve, okay. and I'm only 6 years into this.
Oh, okay.
So I talk to a lot of people, and I actually have a consultant who I bought a lot of embryos from, and he became a good friend. And he consults for me and advises me, a lot of with either embryos or cattle that I want to buy. We sell cattle together, and he's been in the business for 30 years. So it's hard to break in.
Yeah. So I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like a business, right?
Yes.
And that's what I mean. Like, is there a lot of people who are secretive about how they operate? You know what I mean?
There are. Our embryologist comes, and you can't even talk to him what he's doing at other ranches. He just won't tell you. People are secretive. They don't like to tell you necessarily about their plan, to a point. Yeah.
So, and just keep going. You, like, one cow? Like, am I saying that? I don't want somebody to be like, that's not a, like, what's the term for a female cow?
So a female cow, or a female that has had a baby is called a cow.
Okay.
She hasn't had a baby, she's called a heifer.
A heifer, that's okay.
Yeah. And when she's had her first baby, you call her first calf heifer. But then she's really a cow.
Cows can have two breeding per year? Do they have one?
One, just the same as a human.
Oh, okay.
So they're pregnant for 9 months, have their baby. 3 months, they still have their baby, but they're able to get pregnant again. So we breed every June. They have their babies in March, and then we breed again in December. They have their babies in September, so they produce a baby every year for us.
How long is it? Does the baby stick around with them before you can separate them?
We do ours at 200 pounds, 205 days. Oh. So our March babies are weaned in October. Our September babies are weaned in March.
In the weaning, is it like over time, or are they like just bye, see you later?
Well, no, there's different ways you can do it. What we do is it's called a fence line wean. So we put the weanlings in the pens because they really want to get to their moms, and their moms want to get to them. So you have to have a very secure fence. I mean, they'll go through barbed wire. So we have them in the pens, which is steel fence, steel pipe fence, but they're allowed to touch noses, so it's less stressful. They can't suckle the mother, but they can.
They're with her.
They're with her at various times of the day, and it helps console them, and it's less stressful on both animals.
Do you keep certain cows and then like the babies you get rid of, or do you keep them and then how does that work?
It's an evolving process.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our main breeding herd, and then we're in an improvement stage with our herd. So I bought registered animals, but they weren't necessarily as high a quality as I'm striving to get for a breeding stock. So we are placing embryos in a lot of these registered mothers, and then they produce they're basically, we call them recips, but they produce a recipient. They produce a calf that isn't their own genetics. It's better genetics. And then some of those calves we sell to other breeders, others we keep to improve our herd. So we're keeping more of them currently. And then we are expanding our herd a little bit, as well as we sell off some of the mothers that we don't want anymore.
I'm not like accusing you of anything, but you do hear about like just the harshness of like people treating like what's it called? You're not factory farming, you hear all that the bullshit that goes. So how do you ensure your animals are treated fairly?
We're there, and these animals are ones that we want to produce for us. So they get treated a lot different than commercial animals.
Commercial, okay.
So that's been a learning process a bit for my cowboy, but he's very receptive. But we don't shock our cattle in the chute. They go through, when we work our cattle, they get stressed, but we handle them gently, calmly, low voiced. A lot of it, I've done a lot of reading with Temple Grandin. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's an autistic woman who used to sleep with the cattle.
I think I have heard of her, actually, now that you say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it is understanding cattle behavior and how they move in response to you. So you can get cattle to do a lot of things without being rough with them. And so you can walk in a different direction. It'll force them down an alley, and we have our alley set up in a way that they feel comfortable walking through. They walk through, and then they do get stuck in a squeeze chute because you have to be able to handle them. They're strong animals, but we vaccinate them to get them in there. We're calm with them. That was a big learning thing for my cowboy, because they're when you're moving 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 cattle, you don't have time.
So he was operating in a commercial environment before.
That's where he does a lot of his work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're just used to moving fast, etc. But our animals, you can imagine if you were put into a closed space and you were shocked or hurt or whatever, you wouldn't want to go in there again. But when we need them to go in there multiple times, they go through there 4 times when we're getting them ready to breed. So you need them to be willing to do it. They just walk through, they get their shot, they move on, and once they get used to that, it usually moves a lot. It moves actually pretty quickly, and there's not a lot of, the animals aren't stressed and upset and misbehaving.
Is the vaccine the only thing like you're giving them? Is there any like?
Well, we do. There's multiple. So when we're breeding, they're getting medications to stimulate them to go into heat, and that's a different shot. And at the beginning of that, usually the first time through, we vaccinate them as well as worm them, which is a spray that you put on their back.
What are you vaccinating? What is preventing?
There's a number of diseases in the dirt, different clostridiums. There's respiratory illness that cows are susceptible to. It's called bovine respiratory disease, or BRD, yeah. And so you vaccinate against that. Black leg, there's like 11 of them, and you do it to the calves when you wean them as well, it prevents the cattle demise from these various illnesses. I'm
just going based off what I see at the supermarket. So there's no like GMOs. I don't know what is this, like organic stuff. What is you don't like? Do you label it like that when you sell it?
Well, yeah, we don't. I mean, now I'm not in a program where it's 100% organic.
Okay.
That can be challenging at times because sometimes cattle do get get a respiratory disease and they need to get an antibiotic. We don't give ours antibiotics for no reason.
Steroids, none of that.
No. And so that, but I don't pull those out of the herd. Some guys do. They do a complete natural, and if they end up having to give an animal antibiotics, they'll pull them out of they'll mark them differently or whatever so that they don't go into their natural program because, there's a market for that.
Now I'm starting to think about the death of these animals. What do you do if they die, like, when they're not supposed to? Like, if it just, like, an accident happens?
If they get, if it's an illness.
What do you do with, like, the meat in the body?
The calves are usually the ones that succumb.
Okay.
And they often, by the time we find them, the coyotes have already, eaten fair part of the body. So,
is it okay to, like, let's say it's sick and you put it, you kill it, or you put it? What do you call it? Like, euthanize it or whatever.
Euthanize, yeah.
Is it okay to leave that body out there for the coyotes or for nature to take its course?
There's a rendering truck that comes by.
Oh, okay.
So you can call them. We've had a few. We had one that had an accident in the chute and she broke her leg and we had to euthanize her and they come and they pick her up.
You see people, they treat their animals right, and because you're so whenever they're ready to be made into burgers like we just had, which was very delicious, what's that process like?
So the animal is at the processor. Like how are they terminated?
Oh no! Like, what do you do with yours? Do you?
I was like, I don't know if I could hear that one.
Oh yeah, you can probably watch videos and how that's done.
Yeah.
Do you? Are you there the whole process?
Oh no, I drop them off the night before at the processor, and then it's usually about 3 weeks before the meat's ready to be picked up.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that it was like kill, boom, meat like the next day. I don't know why I thought that. So it's a long process.
Yeah, they hang it for about 21 days.
That's what my grandpa does. Right. Jackson Brothers Meat Locker.
And that's where I take.
He kills them. He dispatches them.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you took it already there and.
No. It's a live animal when you take it there.
Oh shit! I did not know that.
Yeah, because they have to bleed the animal properly, and so that so the meat,
Yeah, I'm interested in that process, but we won't talk about it because Jen's here. But have you seen it? Have you seen it all done?
I have not actually.
Is that by choice?
Well, actually, years ago, I did go to a massive processing plant when I was a medical student, and they didn't let me see the kill room, but I saw, right when it comes out of there, and they do the rest of the stuff.
I've actually, now that I think about it, I've seen those big ass freezers with them hanging in there at my grandpa's place.
Yeah,
I think that's the closest I've ever seen to the actual process. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what they do. I mean,
Is it quick?
It's very quick.
there you
It's
go.
quick in the.
I was like, if I need to go to the bathroom for like
the animal
5
has
minutes,
the animal has no
I
pain.
totally can do that.
The animal
There you
has
go,
no pain.
Jen. There's no pain for the animal.
No, but if
That-
that's,
no, that's
something
very
you do wanna,
important.
if it's something you do want to ask, I can go to the bathroom for like 5 minutes.
Nah,
or
I'm sure I
something.
could just quick Google search. I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering, like, because I one day want to own, not like, I want to have animals, like, you know, raise my food like that one day. I would like to. But I'm also like, I love animals and I like become attached. I'm scared I'd become attached to even a fucking cow.
Right.
It's like, how hard is it at this point? Is you've already done it enough to where it's like, okay, you just get rid of it? Like, how do you not become attached to these things?
Well, most of them that end up going to the feed yard, or excuse me, to the processor for us have already been being fed somewhere else, not by us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and most of those animals aren't pet-like, so to speak. That one steer I was telling you about, barbecue.
Yeah.
He was mean. He was a mean son of a gun. he actually took us about 2.5 months to finally get him down to Jackson Brothers. I mean, he had wrecked fence, all that, you know, that my cowboy that was helping us at the time down here in Lubbock. I mean, he couldn't get him loaded into our trailer. It was we ended up finally baiting him in there with food over days and just catching him at the right time and getting him in the trailer down to Jackson Brothers. Yeah,
Dang.
but yeah, he was one of those guys. Like, if you're out in the field, he would chase you down and scare you. Yeah, he was not a friendly guy.
And so for the males, they're steers?
Well, a steer is a male that's been castrated.
Oh, okay. What if before that? What are they called?
Bulls.
Bulls.
Bull. Yeah.
Oh shit.
But you know, any animal that is probably going to be used for meat or commercial animal that you're not going to breed, usually we castrate them either, usually before weaning is when we do it now.
Oh damn. That's crazy. I thought like after you castrate them, they'd be less mean. I don't know why I would think that.
Well, the bulls aren't necessarily. I mean, bulls. We had bulls that aren't mean, like that are breeding bulls. They're very docile. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be aggressive. I mean, I've had bulls that I've raised since they were calves. I can go up to in the field and I can rub on their head, and you know, it's like a big old dog. You know,
That's what I've heard. That's
you
what
have to
like,
be
yeah.
careful because they're so big. I mean, they can hurt you.
How much do they weigh?
Well, at various times in their life, I mean, a full-grown bull is closing on 2,000 pounds in our cattle.
Can that tip over a car? You think?
I don't know about a car, but man,
I've seen those running with the bull
It
videos.
can do a world of hurt. Luckily, I haven't been injured by any of them. You know, I'm pretty careful.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your cowboy over there in Happy? He's a pretty cool guy. He
Oh,
said
yeah.
he wears the whole thing. You were gonna bring him? Maybe one day we can.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have Bo come down here. Bo's great. Bo's been with us really almost since day one, helping us out up there. Met him, gave him a holler when we took the chute system up there and figured that my wife and I were gonna take it off the trailer ourselves. And like after the first piece, I'm like, man, this isn't working out.
Yeah.
So gave him a holler, but he's excellent. He and his wife and his son actually now is an older boy now, and
Nice.
and they help, and they all help when we're working, bringing the cattle on horseback, and he's able to doctor animals out in the pasture without necessarily bringing them into the chute, if they're ill.
Is that just something you pick up doing it? Has he done that his whole life?
Yeah, he's done that for. I mean,
It's just in his blood.
Yeah, he's done that.
Yeah.
For 20, 30 years. You know, he's 37.
Hell yeah, I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, he's special.
Does he like to drink?
He does. Yep.
Let's drink, dude.
Yeah.
Come on down, man. I want to talk to him. That'd be cool. So I just wanted to know about him. Is there a lot of trust in ensuring that you get your beef? You know what I mean? Like you get your numbers, like you said, their numbers. That beef you're getting back is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I trust all the folks.
Good old David.
Yeah, David and Jamie down at
Yeah.
Jackson Brothers. They give us. We're getting our good quality beef back. when we expanded our operation, we started having to sell to Tyson because I just couldn't sell it, couldn't sell enough of it, privately to folks. So the first year we sent 26 to Tyson, or no, the first year we sent 50 to Tyson. The second year 26. And we get a lot of information. The benefit of that for us has been we get a lot of information on the grading of the beef. And so our beef has done very well. They've graded 100% of our beef both years was choice or better. And then the first year it was 33% of it was prime. And the second year 56% of it was prime. So it was we're very pleased with that, and you can tell the difference when we get it. We fill our freezer and you eat that stuff. It's just delicious.
So there's I was wondering how I was gonna ask that. There's not like the big commercial corporations, like they'll buy from you. Uh-huh. Like Tyson, like I would think like corporation and commercial, like they'll work with you. They won't like.
Yeah, they have a big, they deal in thousands of cattle a day. But the feed yard that I use that feeds our animals up in Dimmick, it's called Rogers and Sons, and they work very closely with.
I think that's kind of what.
Yeah, they were already bad. This food's making it worse. Me this.
They have a relationship with Tyson, and Tyson has a big processing plant up in Amarillo. Mm-hmm. And so they load mine on the truck when they're ready and take them up there.
You said God damn it, a good bite.
It's good, isn't it?
It's really good. I'm gonna have to get some from you on the when's that? August, you said?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to place an order.
I should have brought some in a cooler to give you.
Oh my God.
Do you want me to take your plate?
It's good. What was I gonna say? Oh, you said earlier it's kind of like you're learning. Is that the same for like the business side of it? Do you have a business partner? Is it you? Is your wife?
Yeah, it's our family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the ultimate goal is to have something for the kids to inherit, a piece of land that they can maybe continue doing some of this when we're done.
Are the kids they were born here in Texas?
Not only one of them.
Oh damn.
Yep, last one.
Okay, where was the other ones at? Out there
in Rochester, New York. Yeah, where I trained.
Some Yankees. Sorry, I don't know if that's offensive or not.
Yeah, but Cecily, we got her birth certificate and it said, "Welcome to your newest little Texan." We thought that was so cool.
There you go, man. Shout out to her. So you have 4 kids, right?
Yes, sir.
I seen that Facebook. That's how I know. Are they interested in this and what you do?
Yeah, Ian is a big help to me. All of them actually help at various times. Like in this last breeding, getting everything ready to breed, Ian helped me a fair bit, and then Eva would come up, and she's my second. She's 14 now. We do spreadsheets that are printed off with the cattle, and we write everything down, and so she would do that. And some of the animals would come through that were already pregnant, so we wouldn't want to give them shots, and she would shout it out, etc. So they all at various times play different roles. Fencing, whatever.
Have you what's the damn word? Like when they give birth, there's that afterbirth. There's do they eat it? What's that called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The placenta and the amniotic membrane.
Am I thinking colostomy? Is that the right word? Like that fucking.
Oh no, the colostrum is the first milk that they.
Yeah,
drink.
have you ever had that?
No.
Well, let me let this fucking airplane go by or whatever. Yeah. Have you ever watched Bizarre Foods with Andrew Zimmern? It's an old show.
Yeah.
He drank it one time. And I was like, I wonder if all people who do in that world.
We've never milked any of our cows.
No. Is there that's what I was gonna ask too. Is that do they each, even in your little ranch and your cattle, do they each have their own purpose? Like they don't, one that's for beef doesn't make milk like that for commercial use or whatever. You know what I mean? Or can they do different things?
Ours are all beef cattle. The only milk they produce is for their own calf. So we have some that are commercial. They're the ones that we grow up to become hamburgers, and then the other ones are breeding stock. And so those, that's kind of the different groupings of animals that we have.
And how do you what makes them different? Like what they eat, how they're treated, where they're put?
Well, when they're all up at the ranch, they're all treated. They're usually in the same herd, and then at weaning is usually after weaning is when we separate. So after weaning, we would take commercial animals that are going to be fed out, that then they get picked up, or I'd take them, load them up, and take them to the feed yard. That's just what we decided to do in our operation. It was too big. We didn't have enough land to support feeding out and keeping these animals for all this period of time. It was too stressful on the land, so we pull those animals. And then the other animals that are going to become breeding stock, we some of them now we bring down. We call Lubbock the development center. So we bring down the heifers, and we feed them for about 6 months until they're ready to be bred. And we gentle them. We feed them every day they're around us. We rub on them when they let us, and they get used to us, so that they're more calm around humans.
Are you familiar with the expo center that's coming here? And they're building out there north.
Oh, for the rodeo.
Is that what it was for? I didn't know if it was something to do with if that's gonna help you with your selling and buying and all that. Or is that's what it's for? Is for the rodeo?
I think it's mostly for rodeo.
Oh, yeah. Do you go to those?
No.
No.
I've helped round up. I have a horse that we've had for many years. He was actually at our property when we moved in 2011. Real nice, gentle guy. But I've rounded up once where I was on horseback at our ranch, but most of the time it's just so fast and so busy that I'm doing other things. So I leave the cowboy and the Bo and his crew.
Dang, man, that's crazy. I just want to go out there one day and see how it fucking works.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know why. I just this is a whole new world for me, and I'm obviously, I love meat. I love to eat it. I love burgers, and I've even said it on this damn podcast. I fucking hate, don't fucking, I barely eat vegetables. I love meat. I've said that before. So that's why I'm I need to know a little bit about this world. I think people who eat meat should know about this world.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know where their burgers come from.
Yeah.
And it's actually with this, the ad that I posted recently, that how you found me. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, the feedback that you get in the comments. It indicates that people, they don't know where their meat comes from. They don't understand what it takes to have a mama cow that you breed, that creates a calf, that that you have to make sure that it's well taken care of and vaccinated and doesn't get disease and illness. And you lose calves. You lose calves for various illnesses. And to wean that calf, feed that calf out until it's ready to be slaughtered. And it's a huge commitment process, etc. People don't understand it at all. I didn't really understand it until I got into it 6 years ago.
Do you ever get any shit from vegans or PETA or any of that shit?
No,
never.
Not yet. I never have. No. No. Occasionally you talk to people and somebody will say, "Oh yeah, I saw my dad when he slaughtered our pig or whatever. I was never able to eat that again," or something like that. But not really. No. Luckily, I haven't been.
Probably because of this area. They're a lot like me. They just like meat. Just fucking love our meat.
Yeah.
Barbecue. You got any cattle questions over here before we switch over to? Because I'm also interested in your other job. I didn't know you're a man of many trades. So you're also a physician.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Now, what you do anesthesia? You said.
Yes.
Is that for is that a specific surgery, or is that anything? If anytime anybody needs to go under, you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at our hospital, it's mostly for surgery. It can be for other procedures, pain procedures, colonoscopies.
People go under for that?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
And most people, I've had one patient that didn't have anesthesia, and I was impressed, but it's not very comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, I know one guy. That's what I'm saying. Like, damn, I didn't know that was possible. He was pretty fucked up from it. But whatever. Like, he felt. Anyways, but is that like your 9 to 5 though? That's your job. Yeah,
that's my job. Yep.
And
do a little emergency medicine. When I started my training, I did 2 years of surgery. Then I went into the laboratory and I did a lot of moonlighting, and I moonlit in the emergency department, and ended up doing that for 5 years total. But in between surgery and anesthesia, I did it for 3 years, and then went back and did my anesthesia training. So I'm formally board certified in anesthesia. But I have that other experience, and when COVID came back, when COVID came and we weren't doing a lot of elective surgery, I went and did a board prep for emergency medicine, and started doing some emergency medicine coverage again, just to pay the bills and stay busy.
You got back in operating now?
Oh yeah, we're full swing. We've been in full swing for a number of months.
Well, that's good. What are you got any crazy things happen to you out there? Some horror stories or anything wild? Just any those hospital stories you hear online? You got any of those you can share?
Oh boy, let me think.
Wait, before you answer that, has anybody ever woken up?
No.
No, never.
No.
What would happen if that happened?
They should sue me.
Yeah, is that what would happen?
I mean, it all depends. Depending on what's going on, a lot of there have been some people that had horrible experiences, somewhere when that happened, and that really means that the folks weren't paying attention. But a lot of times, people's perception. I get stories from patients, and it's when they're waking up. People are real. Your brain is coming back together, and your perception of reality. I've had patients tell me, "Oh, I was awake during this," or or I remembered this, or people were talking, or this or that, and it's all when they're waking up either in the operating room or between the operating room and the recovery room, or in the recovery room, and their brain is putting the pieces back together, and they kind of get confused.
Have you ever gone under for surgery?
Yeah, I've been under anesthesia twice in my life. But
was it scary?
Yeah.
I've never been.
The most memorable one is when I got my wisdom tooth taken out. It was under general anesthesia, but I did come to. I think. I don't know. Now that you say that, I don't know. I feel like I did.
Yeah.
But also, it was just.
What do you mean?
Well, because they put me under, and I remember my anesthesiologist, he kept on telling me to give him repeating high fives because I was so nervous, and then I fell asleep. And then I felt pressure in the back of my mouth, and I felt like a buzzing, and I remember I pushed my head back, and whoever was working on me said, "Let's give it a minute." And then I remember telling myself to go back to sleep, and then I remember my nurse waking me up.
Gotcha.
So that was it, but it did hurt. But I remember I just pushed my head back. No, I mean
that's a little bit of a different.
I feel like that would be different,
than having a total knee or something like that.
Yeah. You're talking about IV drips and whatever, I'm sure. So
yeah.
I've never had any of that. I hope I never do, man. That scares me. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I had before anesthesia, I had 3 surgeries, and then after anesthesia, all I've had is after my training, and I've only had a colonoscopy. Yeah, the thing that scared me there was, the process of going to sleep, of talking and saying things that, my colleagues would hear, and you get completely disinhibited. So.
Oh, it's like those videos of people saying shit.
Put me to sleep quickly.
Can you please explain to me what a colonoscopy is real quick, so I know what I was talking about earlier?
So there's a scope with a camera, so it's about yay long, and it's about that big around, and it has a camera on the end of it, and they put that, from your bottom end all the way up.
Oh man, I was thinking of a prostate exam. I wasn't thinking of that.
Yeah, so you've been cleaned out, and then they look to make sure there's no cancer, polyps, or gastrointestinal disease, or a site that's bleeding, or depending on the reason that the person is there, to look at the colon.
Fuck.
Yeah.
No wonder why they put you to sleep for that shit. I was thinking of something else. A prostate exam, of course, but never. Man, do males have to do that, or is it like anybody?
For a colonoscopy?
Yeah, or anybody.
Anybody. For a screening colonoscopy, they're doing them now. If you have family history, they're doing them at the age of 40. The most common time most folks come to get their colonoscopy, they start is at the age of 50. And then they get them every 10 years or more often if they've had polyps have been found. And so the polyp is believed to slowly grow into cancer, so they remove the polyp, and then if somebody's prone to polyps, they bring them back every 3 to 5 years.
For like colon cancer? So
yeah. It's really reduced colon cancer dramatically.
Because I've heard there's been a lot of rise in, like, not a lot, but there's been a rise in colon cancer in younger males.
There is a belief that there's folks that are younger that are.
Because are you familiar with Chadwick Boseman? Black Panther, young, good shape, all that shit. Fucking got money, and he died from colon cancer.
What age?
I think he's in his 30s. Yeah. So that's when I saw the article.
No, it's crazy. We've seen some folks that are very young. Yeah,
probably from that processed meat. Go eat your local farms. Probably from that other shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say what it's from. Whether it's chemicals in the food or genetic susceptibility in the family. It's hard to know.
I think it's the food, man. They need to shop. They need to come buy their shit from you.
They need to buy it from Ring Bar Ranch.
There you go.
Lubbock, Texas.
Are there a lot of other ranches around here? Are you familiar? Like in Lubbock?
Not so much in Lubbock. There's a few other Angus breeders in Lubbock. But I mean, I wouldn't really say my true ranch is in Lubbock. I mean, my bigger land is up in Happy. I mean, up there, there's a lot more. It's cattle country. I mean, there's a lot of cattle.
That's like near, like Amarillo and all that area.
Yeah, Amarillo Canyon. It's just Tulia.
I'm going back to this cattle questions. What do y'all do, like, if there's bad weather? How do y'all get them motherfuckers, like, safe? They live outside, man. They're built for it. They are. You can't fucking pick them up, huh?
No.
I was just thinking.
No, I mean, it was that cold weather. That was a big cold stress. That actually affected our production. We lost a lot of pregnancies, so our pregnancy rate was much lower with that group. That just from the cold stress, we actually bred. It was December 13th. It was a blizzard. It was unpleasant. There's a picture of me on Facebook with my beard.
I saw that one.
It's all ice. I mean, it was nuts. And my embryologist, he came from Arkansas, and he used to be down in Bryan, Texas, and he was not impressed. But then we got that cold snap that lasted. I mean, you remember that?
Like in February?
Yeah, February.
A couple weeks, huh?
Yeah, it was a good
Snowmageddon.
Yeah, it was horrible, and below zero, and our cattle just aren't as used to that, and I think that was a big factor in our pregnancy rate. I mean, our pregnancy rate is normally about 60% with our embryos, and it was like 20%.
Damn.
It was.
So, like, on a normal...
We didn't lose. We were lucky we didn't lose any cattle. We weren't calving during that period of time. There was folks that were calving.
Was that... Oh.
I mean, having their babies. And luckily we weren't. But that would be tough, because some of those babies, even if you're not there, you don't find them, they can...
So, like, during, like, a storm and even, like, a mild winter, like a normal winter we had prior to this, they would just be outside? They can just withstand it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have barn facilities for our animals, and really up there nobody does. I mean, up way north, Montana, Minnesota,
where it's really cold.
Some of those folks, they either bring their cattle in close, or they do barn some of them when it's real bad. but we don't have facilities for that, and our cattle withstand it.
So what did you have to do when it was like below freezing? Just
break the ice.
Just
break the ice on the water twice a day.
Oh, so shit!
Like, that's what I did down here, and then my cowboy did it up north. But yeah, I'd get up. If I had to be to work by 7 o'clock, I get there around 6:30. I would get up, an extra half hour early or whatever, and go out with a sledgehammer, break the ice, make sure they had access to the water, and do it again in the evening.
Dang. How? So they just drink water and eat grass.
Mm-hmm.
Do they eat anything else?
We sometimes supplement with grain or it's called cattle cube, which is dry distilled grains that they make them in. They're like almost like a hot dog. They're round and hard, and they eat that. That's high in protein to supplement them.
Have you ever seen them like eat a squirrel or something crazy?
No.
Like a chicken or something? Dude, I follow these people on Instagram.
No, I have not seen that.
I'm really wondering what.
I follow these people on Instagram. Nature is Metal. Shout out to them. And they say they've observed in rare occasions where a mammal, such as like a cow or a deer, will eat will eat meat because it's just the opportunity's there and they won't pass up on it. I didn't know if you've ever seen that.
No, I have not.
No, it can happen. People, actually, I don't know if it's cows, but I thought I'd ask. How do you protect them from like coyotes?
Well, the mothers they protect the calves. Occasionally, the coyotes will grab a calf, but we also.
So they just do all the work, huh? They just sit there and do all the.
All those mamas are very protective, and some of the mamas. They're protective of the baby. You'll have a cow that you raise that's all friendly and you can pet on, and then they have a baby, and you go up to that baby, and they'll be very protective. I haven't been personally hurt, but there's been plenty of folks that have been, because the mamas will protect that baby, but they'll protect it from coyotes. The herd will. They'll have babysitters. It's kind of neat to watch. The mamas will go feed or whatever, and there'll be one mama that stays, and all the calves will be with that mama.
Wow.
Yeah, they have a herd, they have a herd mentality for sure.
Is there any other like predators that can get to them, or is that mainly it?
In our part of the country, coyotes really the biggest one.
How do you protect them from people trying to steal your? You out there with a gun?
We luckily haven't had that. We lock our gates. There's a lot of activity around our place. I actually have a ranch house out there that a tenant lives in, and so there's people around. So we luckily haven't had to deal with any of that problem. Texas Rangers that work for there's actually cattle rangers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's their own police force. Texas Southwestern Cattle Association (TSCRA) has their own branch of the Texas Rangers, and they chase cattle rustlers and farm equipment thieves.
Oh, okay.
I'm a member of that. And they're supported by our dues.
That's what I was gonna ask. So you have to like kind of pay for that
in
a way.
Yeah. You pay a dues.
Or you do have to pay for it.
Yeah, no, you pay dues yearly for that if you want to be a member of that, and they will. They're the ones that investigate that, and they're impressive. They hunt that stuff, and they have ways.
That actually makes it seem kind of fun.
Yeah, they find it. Yeah. Technically, if I have a branded cattle that if that shows up at a feed yard, not a feed yard, a sale yard. A lot of the sale yard is obligated to contact you and make sure that that's it, that those cows are supposed to be being sold. And so,
Man, I didn't even think about like that equipment.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's just so cool, like how much business there is, like just behind all of it, like that. Like I don't know. I never put
ton of business.
Yeah, I just never put that much thought into it. But it's just really interesting, just hearing you out and just learning about it.
It was a big learning curve for me at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm learning every day, but. At the very beginning, it was huge. Mm-hmm. Learn about all this stuff.
Do you ever feel like your medical background ever almost helped you as far as like being educated as to like how you're like raising your cattle, or like, you know, like what you're giving them and like what you're putting into them and stuff like that? Do you feel like your medical background like helped you at all with that?
A little bit, maybe. With the vaccines and the medications, and then I did a lot of those similar things with our horses when I grew up. But it's pretty separate.
Yeah.
There's not too much overlap really.
When you do the vaccines, is there like a needle and you're doing it?
I do it sometimes. My cowboy does it. We all have our job.
Do they even feel it?
Oh yeah.
They
it's a
do.
needle.
Well, I don't know. They're fucking big old animals. I've seen he wasn't abusing the animal, but this cow was like trying to almost like charge him. He punched the shit out of his head and it didn't even move. Like it didn't even budge. So I didn't know if like there's just some tough animals in there.
No, it's a shot. They don't usually get too upset by it.
We're big old humans and little bitty needles,
Yeah, we do it in their muscle properly. And
I got a bunch of random questions now. Do you ever get like the hide? Do you keep like the hide?
We have not. I've not been able to find any. It's not easy to find somebody that'll tan the hide.
Oh, really?
To tan it is a lot of work.
That's the problem, is finding somebody.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and I looked into how to do it. I'm like, I ain't doing that.
Because I used to have one. I don't know why I got.
There's companies that do it, and obviously they're the ones that buy it from the processing plants and stuff. But
I wonder what David does with those.
Yeah, ask him, man.
Fuck, I am gonna have to ask him to see if he can hook me up with somebody. I just thought about that. Damn. I'm guessing you've had his jerky.
Sir?
You've had his jerky, right? Jackson Bros.
Absolutely. That's
have you
amazing.
Had that? Oh, my.
Yes.
You have? Oh,
You know the best thing to do with that is
my parents will drive down to Post to pick it up. Sometimes.
Yeah,
of course they will.
Yeah. We get it when we get them processed, but I will put it in the toaster oven and you just warm it up, and then it makes all the fat in there come to life, and it's like eating a filet mignon. It is so tender.
I didn't even think of that.
Oh, it's crazy delicious.
Hell no, I'm just eating it.
I'll be there in Post this Saturday and get me some.
Oh, it's so good.
He gives it to you? Like, does he just give it to you?
No. When we get our animal processed, we get part of it. We'll say we want 10 pounds or 20 pounds of jerky.
Oh yeah, hold on. What? Yeah,
because we process for our own family as well. We get throughout the year. We'll get a half. We'll get a whole for the whole family, but we'll get a half here and a half there. So yeah, we eat a lot of beef.
What's like your favorite thing to eat?
These burgers, they're never bad. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. Burgers.
Boom.
It's just good. The steaks are delicious. We have ribeyes. We do T-bones. We don't do the tenderloin so a T-bone, if you didn't know, is got the tenderloin or the filet mignon and the Kentucky City strip, the KC strip, or the New York strip. That's the T-bone. So we get the T-bone versus getting those two separate. Then we get ribeyes and sirloins. The sirloins you get because when you get a sirloin at the restaurant or whatever, it's a part of the sirloin. But the way like Jackson Brothers does it, it's like this big.
They know how to do it,
and it's got the bone in the middle. So that feeds our whole family for dinner. So I'll cook that, and we reverse sear all our stuff. We'll slow cook it for about 25 minutes at 275, and then sear it on a skillet. And man, it's perfect every time. Cut it up in.
Well, if you weren't hungry, you're gonna be hungry now, people. Damn.
So good. We get the brisket, and then we get the fajita meat. That's how we do it. We don't do any roasts for our family, and then the rest we get into ground, and half the ground is made into these pre-done burgers. And Jackson Brothers does it. I'll have them put in fresh jalapeno into the burgers, and man, these didn't have that. These were done in San Antonio, but man, like that, they're just delicious. And then the other half is just ground, like you buy at the store to make, meat sauce or chili or whatever else. Meatballs.
Damn. You got it made, man. Fuck. I'm jealous, dude.
I'll bring you some. I'm gonna
have to buy you some from you because it just goes back to I just want to know where my meat came from. I'm kind of I'm trying to get away from that processed food and all that bullshit, fast food.
Right.
Like I'm trying to get away from that, and even dairy. But I had some today, just for the occasion. But I'm trying to get away from all that shit and just like. And I've always preached that on here, like even just without the food, like shop local, support local business.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to do. Like and I think it might just be healthier for you. I don't know.
Well, I think the difference, and one of the big differences with you can go and buy a really good steak at United. I mean, let's not lie. I mean, you can go buy that. It's going to be a lot more expensive than buying from a local producer. But what I think the biggest difference is in the ground meat. And we eat a lot of ground meat. We make this burger. So most of the ground beef that you buy in the store is from, we call them cull animals. So they're either an old beef producing cow or an old dairy cow. Or sometimes it's like an injured cow or whatever, but it's not a prime animal. So all of ours, were 56% of them last year were prime beef, 100% choice. So you're buying choice hamburger or prime hamburger, and I mean, as you could tell with that burger, I mean, it's delicious. It's different than buying some old.
It definitely is
old hardened, dairy cow that's all like tough and everything else.
That's what I was like wondering about earlier when what do you do with the...
And, it doesn't have all the antibiotics, and all that kind of jazz.
That's important, I think,
yeah,
for a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know what they do to those dairy cows, but...
See, I heard some shit about...
It's different than what we do.
I don't want to speak, out of line or, misinformed. I heard some shit that they, with those dairy cows, and that's why I'm I'm done with the dairy. Because I heard, kind of, I don't know if it's the truth, but if it is, I'm fuck that. I'm not cheese, milk, none of that. I'm not with that anymore.
Right.
It's just, it's sad. It really is sad. And it's and it's sad the stories you hear about, I guess, the commercial farming almost and all that, the way they treat their animals. I don't know. I don't know those people. Maybe you do, but
I know there's been some exposés about some different companies. I don't want to name them specifically, but that have been brought out as having poor treatment of animals, and I agree with you. That's not acceptable. Absolutely not.
That's why I thought it'd be interesting to hear you talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm damn, man, that's good that you can even just provide for your family like that. You know what I mean? And have I don't know, just I like doing things with my hands, and that just seems like one of the more, I need to be more hands-on with the food I prepare too, I think.
Yeah.
That just goes that's my philosophy anyways.
For me, it's a lot of hard work for us.
Yeah.
But for me, it's an outlet. It's vacation when I go. If I go up there and spend a week, if I take a week off and go up there and fence, I work my ass off harder, and I'm exhausted, but it's relieves your mind. Working with the animals, seeing what you're producing. It's hard work, but I enjoy it.
Is fencing the most physically difficult thing you do?
That's an ass whooping.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, in the hot.
No shade, nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, even my kids, they're like, "Oh, Dad, I don't want to fence." But yeah, it's hard work.
This is a random question. Do you wear long sleeves when you're out there?
Yeah, this is actually what's that?
I wear a long sleeve because I landscape. That's why I've been telling these people you need to wear long sleeves.
Yeah, this is Duluth, and I have 10 of these. The same kind of boring. This is the one I wear at the ranch, and it's like my sunscreen. I always have a cap on, and then depending on how long I'm going to be out, I do sunscreen. I have sunglasses. But yeah, long sleeve for sure. And it's actually cool.
It really is.
Yeah, these shirts are really cool. Duluth, they're called Cool something, but yeah, they're comfortable. I tear them up pretty good, when I'm fencing and or welding. I get all welding burns, and I just get.
You know how to weld?
Yeah, well, mostly.
You attempt it.
I do it. It doesn't look pretty, but I bought a welder. And
is all this necessary though? With what you do, welding and all that, knowing how to build a fence and shit.
I mean, I think it is. You know, I mean, you can always pay to have somebody do it, and you know, sometimes like all the property I've bought has had fence that's adequate, but then I slowly improve it. But I guess if I ever bought a piece of land that had no fence, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to do 4 miles of fence in a reasonable amount of time. I'd probably have to pay for it, but it's expensive.
4 miles. God damn.
Yeah, like we have, it's crazy, and our ranch is small. I mean, compared to like, you know, big boy ranches. But you know, you have a section which is a square mile, 640 acres, and it's a mile this way. You know, a mile this way. It's 4 miles around there.
Oh, that's how it's cut out.
Yeah.
Damn,
If you look at
face.
Lubbock, it's cut out in sections. You know, from
Pretty symmetrical.
Quaker to Slide is a mile. You know, from 1585 to 114, I guess it is. So that's like 130. You know, those are all sections. If you look at the map, it's a perfect mile squares.
They designed this city pretty good.
Yeah, it was all farmland. And if you go up, if you go up to the farmland like Plainview, Tuya, Happy, all the land is originally cut out in squares of sections. And you either buy half section, quarter section, but they're perfect square. The roads are usually, a mile apart. Dirt roads, not all of them are paved, but yeah.
Are people? Is it pretty difficult to buy land because the people don't want to get rid of it?
It all depends on the situation. Yeah, you know, we bought one that the folks were. It was in their family farm. It was in their family for years, and they were retiring and leaving. That was the first one I bought, and it was a half section. And then when the cattle crashed in 2016, one of the guys lost a lot of money, and so I was able to buy a section. In late 2016.
What happened in 2016?
The cattle market crashed. So at the very beginning of the year, and I learned about this later. I wasn't I only had 15 cattle at that time. We got into this in 2015 when I bought that, and we bought 15 cattle, and then I'm like, well, we want to expand this deal, and then the cattle market crashed. So how it was explained to me by my cowboy actually is at the beginning of the year, the weaned calves, which were about 300 weights. They're younger than I wean, but anyway, that's what commercial folks do it. They were 300 weights, and they were selling at $1,100 a head. That's a lot of money. I've never sold a calf that young for that much money. But anyway, that's what they were selling for. So folks that bet on this kind of stuff went out and bought, 100 of these or 200 of them or 1,000 or whatever. And a lot of them did it by bank loans. So then you buy a 1,100 pound animal, then they feed it until it's 800 or 900 pounds before it goes to the feed yard. And they sold them at 800 or 900 pound weights for about $900. So they didn't lost more than $200. They lost $200 plus all the interest they paid on that money, plus all that feed.
These bank loans, man.
Yeah. So they got smoked, and guys that didn't have bank loans, they lost. Like folks that I knew, lost like $200,000. Just like that. And so I was able to buy another piece. I bought a section then, and then I had to buy 45 head of cattle to fill that section because you want the land to produce. You're buying a piece of land, but then you want that land to produce, and it's not a farmland, it's grassland. So we buy cattle to make that land productive. So you're producing something.
You mentioned that earlier about you don't want to overuse the land or do too much to the land. I don't remember So how do you ensure that doesn't happen?
You have to watch the land. Every year is different. We just went through a drought.
So what are you looking for?
You're looking at forage. So we look at the grass. We look at the grass. We're watching the rain. We're watching the the grass, the height, the quality, the condition of the animals. all this goes into. So we just went through a drought, and we luckily were fortunate enough to be able to feed through that drought. I bought a lot of hay from outside the area, and grain and stuff like that to get the cattle through, so they were still in good condition, because it's important to keep them healthy and fat and happy, so to speak, so that they get pregnant. Because if they're stressed, they're not going to get pregnant.
Was this year a good year, like with the rain that we've had?
Oh,
great year.
Yeah.
Somebody, I was like, because I put on Instagram, what should I ask you? Somebody was like mentioned the rain, like if you bless with the rain.
Yeah, we got 8 inches in the last 2 weeks of June. Man, and our we have everything on the at the main place because of the chute and for breeding purposes. So our section hasn't even been grazed yet. I mean, that grass is like, it's up to your knee.
Will that, like, how do I say, like, will it replenish in a year? Or how long does it take, like, if you graze it? Will it come back next year?
Yeah.
Pretty good?
Based on the conditions, yeah.
In a good year?
Yeah, and we have, it's impressive. So I know folks all over the country, getting into this business, talking to folks. And so Bill Lindstrom, Lindstrom Angus out in Alabama, that's who and he's my consultant manager. And so he lives in Alabama, and they get like crazy rain all the time. And they look at our cattle, and then even East Texas, all those guys look at our cattle, and they look at me standing there, it almost looks like dirt. Some of the pictures you can see on our Facebook page, that grass is not plush, but it's very nutritious and high protein, etc. And the animals do well on it. Compared to, you go to these other places where the grass is like this, and it's not, per pound, it's not as nutritious. It's, ours is kind of like very dense,
Is that just nature?
Yeah. It's just kind of different. And it blows my guy's mind. It blows Bill's mind. He's like, look at this, how good your cows look on this. Like, what are they eating? But, yeah.
Do you like the year, do you section off areas where they can graze, or is it all free?
Yeah, we do have
to keep it.
Yeah, it's called rotational grazing. Yeah, we have some.
It's kind of like farming. Like cotton, right? They do that with cotton.
Yeah, they do some rotation. Yeah, so ours we do that at various times, and then that our section, we haven't done it yet, but we had it halved, the section cut in half, so that one half they're here, you're moving back and forth. But we want to do. There's actually studies, and if I've read a bunch about it. It's almost like a clock, and so you have fencing that is pie shaped and whatever, and then you have a central area where they drink, and you have it gated in a certain way, so you can kind of. It's called intense grazing, so they'll graze it down like, and then you'll leave that patch and go to the next one, and then that gives that has a certain period of time to rest and rejuvenate, and it's actually better for weed control, etc., to eat it all the way down. They're forced to eat it. They can't just be picky and eat all the yummy stuff in a big space. They're kind of forced to eat it all down, and that kind of keeps some of the less desirable forage down, and then you rest it and allow it to rejuvenate.
Dang,
it's called rotational grazing.
There's a lot of science in this.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How much, is there like a weight? Is there a number? How much they eat in a day?
Yeah, I couldn't
no,
quote right now. Yeah, but they.
Well, I was thinking, like, are they like? I don't want to say almost greedy. Are they like greedy? And they'll like, if it's there, they'll fucking eat it all day.
Well, maybe with more desirable stuff, they might eat more than they should. But we, like when we are feeding like high calorie stuff like grain, various grains and proteins and stuff, I'm kind of putting her to sleep. What's going on?
No, you're not at all. You're not. I'm just a yawny girl.
A yawny girl.
Yeah,
that food is the food that you put her to sleep, man. She got full.
I fed that girl.
I really worked
my
out.
fault.
Yeah, it's the beer and the food.
So, yeah.
Damn it, what were we saying?
Cheers, by the way, guys.
Thank you, man. I really doing nothing there, but I really appreciate you coming. And I don't know, man. I hope actually I don't care if the people aren't interested in this shit because I'm fucking interested in this shit, man. And it's all around us. We all live around it. If they're like local,
yeah.
Why not? Why not learn about it?
Yeah.
And it's like it's a what would you say, like cotton, oil field, and like is this another big part of our economy too? Like just regional. This
yeah,
region?
Absolutely regional. You know, if I don't know how much y'all are familiar with north of here, so Tulia, Dimmitt, Texas. There's a lot of dairies in that area, and there's a lot of feed yards. You know, where they kind of have dense population of cattle, where they feed them to get them ready for processing. And I mean, there's millions of cattle up that way. So it is a big part of our economy in this region, between here and Amarillo for sure. Less so in Lubbock. You know, there's a few people that have cattle, but not to those degrees. We do well. We
still like the Panhandle.
We have a feed yard. I guess that's not fair. It's not fair to our colleagues here in Lubbock. There is a feed yard here in Lubbock, over there on the east side.
Well, there is.
Yeah. Over there, like just off the Slayton Highway on that spur 331.
You can smell that shit when they move them.
Yeah, when the east wind comes, sometimes you smell it. Yeah, it's the smell of money, they say.
That's how you know, like, cause like I have family in Kansas, so like when they come here, they smell the oil, and then when we go over there, it's like you smell like fucking cattle, and that's what they say, like both ways. I just know, like, especially when you go to Kansas, like you can smell that shit, man.
Well, you go to Dimmitt, Texas. I mean, there's like my feed yard. He has 50,000 cattle,
God
I believe.
Damn.
50,000 cattle. He had 25 over here, and I think he just bought another one for. I think it's another 25. So I think it's around 50,000. And then just up the road from him is another large one, and then another one that has 50 to 100,000 cattle. I mean that I've seen. I mean it's impressive.
God damn! I was gonna speak on the grass. Does their poop? Does it help like nourish the fucking dirt and shit?
Yeah.
Do you just when they shit, do they usually leave it there?
Yeah, it's just, we on our fields. Yeah, we just leave it there.
Do you have a problem with people? Do they grow mushrooms? And do you have a problem with people picking them?
I have not seen mushrooms.
No.
Really, no. It's so dry here.
Oh, is that what the problem is?
Yeah, it needs to be moist, dark.
I guess that's why they do it in east, a little bit east.
Where they take the manure and then they make those barns. And we were actually talking about that the other night because we were having portobello mushroom. But, they have these mushroom barns, or how, they're like a big barn, dark and moist and whatever, that has manure. And
because I knew they grew on cow patties. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I've never done them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess the conditions aren't right.
Yeah, not almost like 0% humidity and 100 degrees, and I don't think the mushrooms are going to grow real well in that.
It's been pretty damn humid here though lately.
It has.
It's been shitty.
It's weird. I mean, having rain in July. I mean, like this morning. I mean, it's soaking
fucking
rain.
Sucked. And threw our day off today, man. I was kind of upset.
I woke up to a leak in my roof. Love it. Yeah, so love the rain.
Keeps the roofers busy.
Yeah.
And the landscapers.
Yeah, but
grass is growing like crazy. I can't even keep up with ours. It's a pain.
The only bad thing is, like, with the wet, it's the fucking mosquitoes.
Oh yeah.
God.
No, we feed. We just moved 30 heifers up north for breeding, and then we have another 10 that we're weaning. It's a smaller group because it's from our fall group. It was a smaller group. Anyway, my son and I feed these mostly, and I mean they're eating the weeds out there as well as some hay, and then we grain them every night, and we have headlamps for when it's dark, but we get out there like early afternoon. If he thinks I'm going to be late, he'll go out early because the mosquitoes are insane. I mean, you go out there at night and it's like, here.
It's horrible.
Swatting the mosquitoes like all day, all night.
Luckily, they haven't been too bad in here, have they? I got this little candle burner here. Hopefully, he's doing his job.
I have a random question. Where did you get the name and the logo? Because I know like this is like your ranch, right?
Good question, because I was gonna ask that.
Well, like, how do people come up with these like designs or like brandings? Like, I never understood the meaning or anything behind them.
Yeah, everybody has their own story, and that's an interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. So if you look at our brand here, and the name, so it's on my hat here. So we were getting this deal ready, and I'm trying to think like, what are we going to name this thing? And so I was putting a lot of energy into this. I mean, I was, setting up my LLC. I was getting my tax ID number. I mean, all this stuff, and I didn't sleep well because I'd be thinking constantly, what's the next thing? So it's 2 a.m. and I'm like laying in bed, and it just comes to me. So I have at that time, Ian and Eva, my 2 oldest children, were in deep in competitive gymnastics. And so I'm laying there, I'm like, ring bar. It just kind of came to me, and I was like, ring bar. So Ian, he was a male gymnast, and one of the things that they did is rings. And then Eva, they both did bars, but she did uneven bars. So I was like, wow, that's cool. So then I started like drawing different rings and bars and all these different permutations and ended up with this, and so I ended up with something like this. And then I started searching. So there's luckily now with the internet it makes it much easier. But I did a national search and I looked at all the brands across the country, and I mean just page after page to make sure there was no brand like this. And then I did the same in Texas, and then I registered that brand in Swisher and Randall County, where our ranches are up north, and then here in Lubbock County. And there's no other brand like it, and it's a little different. I mean, it's not a lot of people have like 2-bar or double slash, or the bars are this way. So ours is not necessarily exactly how a lot of it goes or the nomenclature goes, but it's catchy. And it's a lot of fun, and it incorporates the kids into the ranch.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's fun. I'll be at a sale, and I mean I've been here around long enough, and kind of slowly getting a name. And you'll be at a sale, and you'll buy a cattle, and they'll point the guy, Phil Stoll, who he's one of the ringmen that goes around to all these sales. He ran my sale when we had a sale, and it's just kind of fun when they'll be like, ring bar.
Cool. Nice.
So
I'm glad you asked that, because I would have forgot. I wanted to ask that, but I totally forgot. So you drew that a little.
Well, I drew the actual brand. So this is our brand, and we freeze brand now.
What is that?
So freeze branding, actually, it's an interesting question. So it's freezing. So we have a steel logo like this, and we also have numbers and letters that you put on the cattle. So our cattle are all black. We run registered Black Angus, and so on their hind quarter, we shave the hair, so it's just the right. It's kind of short. And you take the branding iron when it's cold. We have dry ice and alcohol in a cooler. You leave it in there. Then you put it on their skin, and it's less uncomfortable. It's not like a burn. It's cold, and you put it on there. And what it does is it depending on the length of time you leave it, it affects the hair follicle. So you can kill the pigmented part of the follicle, or if you leave it on too long, you'll kill the whole follicle. But we do it so that we kill the pigmented part of the follicle, and then when the hair grows back, it's white. So you have white on black. So you can have their number on there. You can easily see it, and then you can see the brand.
So honestly, did you do that because it was less painful for them? Is that why you did that instead of the hot iron?
It was one of the reasons, and the other reason was for visualization.
That's really cool.
I mean, when it's burned and their hair grows back over it.
Does it work on a human?
No, it does.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know some of them cowboy. I know some. No disrespect. I know some white boys out there who branded themselves, and I'm like, you crazy son of bitches.
Yeah, but it has to be a colored cow. You know, it works really good on black.
Damn, that's cool.
And then Herefords are like that dark brown.
I don't know.
Oh, branding. We were talking about freeze branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a new thing for me. That was interesting.
When did you start doing that?
3 years ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fucking return back to this conversation now because I'm gonna be thinking about that other thing. But I do really appreciate you coming. We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah, man.
Very soon.
Yeah, bring your cowboy.
Bring your cowboy friend.
Yes.
We gotta bring Bo.
Yeah. Where can they hit you? Find you on? So they can, if they wanted to buy some meat from you, where can they do that at?
Well, they can look at our Facebook page, Ring Bar Ranch. That's probably the easiest way to find us.
Okay.
Currently, yeah.
Are you like on Instagram or anything?
Yeah,
Twitter?
We have an Instagram. I don't keep up with that one as much, honestly. Facebook is really where I do most of it so far.
Alrighty.
Yeah, man.
Well, again, thank you. Thanks for the burgers.
Yeah, man.
Sorry about this unfortunate. I don't know, man. This was one of the coolest ones we've ever done. Now I'm all fucking thinking about that shit. But we got a good.
Well, no, we
got a good amount of time.
We have a good episode. Yeah.
We got a good episode. So
how many minutes have we been talking?
An hour, almost an hour and a half.
Almost an hour and a half.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But if you want, you can hang out and drink a little bit more.
Yeah, man.
But I'm gonna put this shit up just in case. I don't know.
Say the boogeyman comes.
Just in case, man. But I got these shirts available. I got a few left, so if y'all want to buy them, please hit me up. I got yard signs available. Those are actually really cool. So please subscribe. It's free. And Jen, you got anything else to say?
No,
I'm Siri.
Was that me?
It's not me. I don't do Siri.
That wasn't them.
Okay.
What the hell? What the fuck was that?
I don't know. This was a cool one. Thank you for bringing burgers.
Yes.
They were bomb. They were so good. Like, this is awesome. And this was just really insightful. It was just really cool.
I hope people listen.
Yeah.
Me too.
It was really educational, if anything. And like, it was just fascinating just to like hear you out and just to like hear just like all like the behind the scenes as to like where your food comes from. It was just really cool. And I'm glad I listened to this after I ate my food. You know what I mean? But it makes you almost like grateful for it. You know what I mean? Like actually being grateful that somebody is being as ethical as they can, while raising this to like feed yourself and, to like supplement yourself. It's really cool.
Yeah, the animals are always treated with dignity, and even when that moment comes where they are terminated.
Yeah.
What's the word you used?
Terminated.
Yeah.
It's painless, and the animals are treated with dignity, and all the way up through. So.
Here's those fucking idiots right there.
Crazy.
Alrighty, well, we'll see you guys next time.
Getting home.
We'll see you guys next time, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on right now.
Bye.
There you go. I hope you guys enjoyed. I think it was a really good one. It ended a little funky, but oh well. Episode 138. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube. Check out the website. Subscribe to the Patreon. Follow Robin on Facebook. Buy his meat. And we'll see you guys next time.